With Brexit, I mean, it sort of leaves China in limbo as well, does it not? They had been hoping, or starting, in fact, to use the UK as I guess, the gateway, the window to a single bloc, the EU. Now, you know, it's all up in the air. They have to start from scratch again.
Well, I'm not sure they have to start from scratch, and a lot of these projects are quite domestic. Of course, the big one is the nuclear power station. That's largely going to be a domestic issue that wouldn't really depend on any relationship with Europe. But my base case has been actually that we're actually not going to see Brexit happen at all. I think the base case is that we kind of see maybe a Brexit light. Maybe the negotiations go a long way, and there are certain points that British people are unhappy with. Justice, the sovereignty of justice over the House of Lords, regulation, petty regulation, these kind of things. And we have some news this morning that the Italians are going to flout the laws on subsidising industry by maybe funding their banks. So you can see that there's a lot of unravelling happening in Europe. And I think when the dust settles, the UK's relationship with Europe probably won't look an awful lot different in practice than it is today.
For markets, do you see Brexit as a buying opportunity, do you?
I think it's maybe a little bit early to say that because, of course, we've had the initial shock, the initial recovery. It's probably, we're probably a week or two, I think, before saying that. But clearly the pound at these levels are at lows that they haven't been in a very long time. Although, sadly, I remember when I went to business school in the States, the pound was almost a one-to-one to the dollar. So, so I had a lifetime hit there. But I think that we may well be getting to the stage where Europe is looking interesting because before the Brexit vote, there did seem to be some signs that Europe was actually coming through, and we might even see some decent growth this year, which would be good for markets.
Interesting. How you're saying time frame 2-3 weeks before you would say there's a buying opportunity. Why?
Well, I think if you do it now, you're probably taking a bit of a punt. We don't really know what secondary effects are going to come through. And even over the weekend, there have been a number of issues about how the Remain party, remember there are nearly 50% people voted Remain, so it's not a mandate by any way. There are lots of ways by which they may start to attack, maybe even through legal methods, the vote. And there's also an indication that Parliament will have to vote on it, and at the moment Parliament would almost certainly vote to stay in. So that could lead to a lot of uncertainty between Parliament and the country with the usual debates that ensue, let alone the leadership debates that we've got going on at the moment.